Welcome to the Reddit stories. r/Askreddit. Men of Reddit, what is the male equivalent of flowers as a gift? When me and my wife were just starting out, I was talking to her on my way home from work about how I was so tired I was probably gonna skip dinner cause I didn't want to cook and didn't have the money to eat out. I don't know when she did it, but when I got home, 2 minutes later a pizza guy showed up with my favorite pizza. Inside the box said something like, I know it's not that healthy, but it's better than not eating. No one had ever done something like that for me before. Not just the gift of food, but that it was because she didn't want me to skip a meal either. She cared about my well-being. A good sandwich. I was on my way to visit my girlfriend 3 hours away this weekend, and she called and asked if I wanted a grilled cheese waiting for me when I got there. What an exciting gift that was. If it's from my GF/a girl I like, it doesn't matter, as long as it's not something I really hate. Once my crush gifted me a not so special piggy bank. It has been my favorite piggy bank for the past 10 years. Once my GF, now ex, gifted me a very regular mug. It's still my favorite mug, given we did broke up peacefully though. Edit. Many asking about the favorite piggy bank. I do have a few, but all were from like my parents when I was little. They thought it's a good idea to teach me about saving money. It kinda worked. I still have them at my parents' home. Never used again after I grown up because there's real bank. But since I received that piggy bank I started collecting coins. Haven't used it much recent years because of mobile payments and people rarely use cash anymore, but it's still my best piggy bank. Honestly, the only time I've ever felt like how I imagine others feel when they receive flowers. I had talked to a friend who lives far away the evening before about how I was having a hard time, and then she just turned up at my door to give me a hug before she had to go catch a bus to her parents' house. Between the utter surprise at her of all people turning up at my door to how needed that hug was, I was completely in love with her for a hot second there. A decent hug and something just a little thoughtful, like a good bar of chocolate or a nice mug. My wife and kids always get me funny mugs. I was always getting my mum stuff like chocolates and flowers from the kids, and my dad's equivalent is a box of toffee or a granddad based mug. Come home with wings and beer. There's a reason the old saying is a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. If my girl came home with wings and beer, and I don't have to cook or feel guilty for choosing to eat out, I'll be in pure bliss. Flowers. Real talk. Give men more flowers. As an ex-florist I can count on maybe one hand the number of times I delivered flowers to a guy that weren't condolences or funeral flowers. And each and every one of them lit up like you wouldn't believe. Some people are into cut flowers, others are not. My personal take is that the gesture and thought is great, but the actual cut flowers, less so. Others here have already pointed out the relatively short life of flowers. Was it Winston Churchill who said to Lady Astor when she remarked on the absence of cut flowers in his house, "Madam, I like flowers, but I also like children. However, I do not cut their heads off and leave them in bowls around the house." Not a precise quote, my best recollection. On a positive note though, a living pot plant is always welcomed by me. Cacti or carnivorous for preference. Food you made yourself for us specifically. Some people see a woman cooking for a man as some sort of subservient thing, and while there may be some cavemen still out there who see it as such, the vast majority of the male population, if I may say so, does not see it as such. The food doesn't even have to be amazing. Just the fact that you took the time to make us happy and make it all about us is like a dream come true. It makes us feel special, wanted, and even needed. The entire reason men tend to have this obsession with being useful is because we crave feeling needed and being relied upon, and when you reward us with something that comes from you, that you did yourself, it tells us that we are needed, and we are important, and we are valued in your eyes. It's not even the food, it's the fact that you cooked for us. Real good men do not take this for granted. Men are simple beings, and I mean that in the way of being uncomplicated. The equivalent of a woman not feeling appreciated is the same feeling of a man not feeling needed or necessary to the nucleus. Something that shows they know you. I knew my then girlfriend was the one when she gave me a dead rabbit for my birthday. I'd been trying to find rabbit in the US for years, but it was more expensive than fine steak. She sourced and found one for me, and it was delicious. Given she's an ex-vegan, it was a big step for her, and she even liked the resulting casserole. Flowers. I've told my wife this many times, and finally on my last birthday she got me flowers that were planted in a pot. It's like she just can't bring herself to give a man a bouquet of flowers. I just like the way they smell and look and have no other functional purpose. I don't need another car battery jumper or anything at all. Just show you care about making me feel good for a moment. I went with my friend to pick out flowers for his mother's birthday. He then said that men don't usually receive flowers, and that a compliment shown by giving someone you love and appreciate flowers is something he thought we do too little of when it comes to gifting men flowers. So for his birthday I gave him flowers, and the smile on that grown-ass man's face was worth 1,000 times what the flowers cost me. TLDR. Flowers works fine for men too. Props to Op for not engaging people saying a blowjob. It might be a joke answer, but the idea that men only want sex is pervasive and harmful. We are also sentimental creatures that love gifts, compliments, physical affection of a non-sexual nature, and home-cooked meals. Most of us are happy to receive anything at all that shows you care and or have been thinking of us, flowers included. So we need to set some criteria here. Flowers serve no utility purpose and are quickly disposed of. The gift is the fact that they were thinking of you enough to know something about your preference in non-utility, disposable items. My first thought was homemade cookies / brownies / baked goods, but these serve a purpose. Then I thought something childish, action figure from youth, comic book, etc. These are not disposable and will be held onto for life. Then I thought something intangible like a compliment or a hug, but to men these are infinitely more valuable than flowers are to women, as we get them very fleetingly. My final answer is an unrequested Snapchat of your titties. It serves no utility purpose as the timer makes jerking it impossible. It has a time limit like flowers and is disposable. Ultimately the gift is the thought. Much like flowers, we will occasionally think back on the gift, but never be able to revisit it entirely. In much of Eastern Europe, the equivalent of flowers for men is flowers. You might notice that medal-winning males in international competitions often get presented with flowers. That's because in many countries flowers are still a normal accompaniment to birthday presents, retirement dues, presentations to a guest speaker, or whatever. When my wife says, "Why don't you go enjoy a night/day with the guys?" she knows I'm gonna let loose and act like a pirate, but I'm glad she lets me do it, and it's good to drop all the responsibilities for a day, or party night, or whatever. Sometimes we fish, sometimes we golf, sometimes we ride ATV, snowmobile, muscle cars, sometimes we BBQ and get too drunk, but we always have fun, and it's super good for our relationship. Speaking of, she is out with the girls tonight and I've got daddy time with a baby and a toddler. My BF's grandpa passed away and he got very quiet and stayed very much to himself with it. I noticed he wasn't himself, so I bought him some flowers and made a bouquet for him. He double checked, making sure they're for him, and he smiled and laughed when I said yes. He said it's different, but it made me smile and thank me. I think guys are simple when it comes to gifts. It seems like it's more the thought and intention behind the gift than the actual gift itself. Guys like being shown we are thinking of them as well. Flowers. My girlfriend heard that most men go their whole lives without getting any. So one day, when I was feeling a little down, she had a rose waiting for me when I arrived. I'd never wanted flowers before or really thought about it as a possibility. It's something we are taught is just for women growing up. But damn, it was such a simple and lovely thing. Something I'd never had before, and I'm not ashamed to say I cried. I can think of a few. A honest and thoughtful compliment. Like once I had an ex say she noticed how hard I was working for the both of us, and she really appreciated that and all the sweet things I did for her. Best compliment I've ever received from a girl. Also, home cooked food is also good, especially if it's an unexpected random snack. I saw someone mention a bit Bill Birded about the sandwich his wife made him once. If I was in the middle of doing some random chore and my girl made me a sandwich and brought it to me, just because, I'd be extremely happy. Another one would be a random massage. Getting my back rubbed always makes me happy. Thank you.